So I filmed this video earlier and here we are again. Hey y'all, if you're new here, I'm April Christine. Welcome to my channel. If you're not new here, hey boo, I see you coming back. As you can see from the title, no, it's not clickbait. Liliana did have surgery when she was younger, so I'm going to open up about that a little bit today. It's something I want to talk about because I have had a few moms reach out to me and ask me how I knew that Liliana needed glasses. So I just want to let y'all in on Liliana's eye condition, so we're going to dive a little bit into that today, as well as taking you through the process that we went through deciding that she was going to have surgery. Before we start this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. For some reason, when I call y'all out, y'all subscribe more often. I don't know what that's about, like some badass kids, honestly, but I can see you. Just subscribe. You know what, I'll wait for you. I'm gonna give you a few minutes. Go ahead and subscribe down below, the red button. I'll be here. I'll wait. Thank you for that. So let's jump into it. Like the title said, Liliana did have surgery. Her surgery was on her eyes. If you've seen any of the videos that Liliana and I have filmed together, then you have noticed that we don't really film with our glasses too much. Liliana and I both wear glasses, and the reason we don't film with them is because I've had a few people comment, not mean or anything, but just I've asked if the ring light and the reflection of our glasses was distracting. And even though we have anti-glare on our glasses, the ring light is still so big and it reflects a really bright light, so it's going to reflect in our glasses. So a few of you guys had mentioned that it's a little distracting, and I completely understand because it bothers me in editing sometimes too, so that's why we don't film with our glasses. But because I choose to make that decision for the both of us, sometimes you guys may have noticed that Liliana's eyes are not always centered. I can throw in a few video clips that I can pull from our videos just to kind of show you. It's not very noticeable, but I notice it. So that started happening when she was born. When babies are born, they don't have complete control of their eyes, so sometimes they'll wander. A lot of the times they'll go cross-eyed and things like that, but usually they grow out of that. So I never mentioned it to the pediatrician just because I knew that that's something that they grew out of. But about 6, 7, 8, 9 months old, I noticed that she still hadn't grown out of it yet. So I did mention it to our pediatrician, and she actually informed me that yes, it's something that they grow out of, but if they haven't grown out of it by the time they're 4 or 5 months old, then it's probably something they're not going to grow out of. So after hearing that, it was a little concerning, but she told me that she was going to refer me to a pediatric ophthalmologist. Let me verify that real quick. I promise I have a bachelor's degree. I just want to make sure I'm giving y'all the right information. Yes, ophthalmologist. Optometrist. An optometrist is an eye doctor that can examine, diagnose, and treat your eyes. An ophthalmologist is a medical doctor who can perform medical and surgical interventions for eye conditions. There you go. An ophthalmologist then. So she referred us to a pediatric ophthalmologist, and on went my search to find a pediatric ophthalmologist. I did a lot of research because obviously I wanted the best for her to try to treat her condition. So I found this doctor. He had great reviews. He was, from the looks of things, he looked like he knew what he was doing. So that's the doctor that we chose, and we went to go see him. Mind you, Liliana at this time is 9, 10 months old. So we go see him, and he's very old. Not that that's a bad thing. He works with children. He's a pediatric doctor. So you would think that a pediatric doctor would have great energy and be really nice to kids and just have a great vibe with kids in order to go into a field only treating children. He wasn't that. He was actually the opposite of that, but he just didn't feel comforting for me, so I'm pretty sure Liliana didn't feel comfortable either. He wasn't very nice. He didn't really communicate well. He kind of talked at you, if you know what I mean, instead of talking to you and asking you and making sure you have all the information that you need. He kind of just talked at you, which I didn't like. So he was the one who diagnosed Liliana, and he said that she had exotropia. So I'm going to break that down for you. So it's exotropia. This is an eye condition in which her eye drifts outwards. So Liliana has a condition that is less likely than the opposite, which is esotropia. So esotropia is pretty common in kids, but it's where your eyes cross inward. So they'll call it cross-eyed. When your eyes are cross-eyed, you have esotropia, and usually they treat that with glasses because it's able to realign your vision. But with the condition that Liliana has, her eyes drift outward, not always do they need glasses? So he immediately told me that, and then he followed up by saying that there's really no cure for exotropia other than to have surgery. Mind you, this is the first time we've seen this doctor. We don't really know a lot about him, but I do know that some doctors are more inclined to cut on their patients. Like some doctors like surgery, and some doctors think that, you know, surgery is the best option, and there's no problem with that. You're trained and you're a professional. If that's your medical opinion, then that's your medical opinion. But I wasn't comfortable with the first option of being surgery. I mean, she's 10 months old. So we left that doctor's appointment and I was not at all convinced that this was the right place for us. And when you get that kind of information as far as your daughter has an eye condition and she's going to need surgery and she's 10 months old, it's a lot of information to just kind of sit on. So of course I wanted a second opinion. I went back to researching pediatric ophthalmologists and I found another doctor. I first initially called her insurance just to make sure that we were covered for a second opinion, and we were. So that's great. So if you're in any kind of situation to where you're not sure that the medical advice that you're getting is the medical advice you want to take as fact or take as your only option, then absolutely always get a second opinion. So that's what I did. I took it into my hands to go ahead and get her a second opinion. Well, with our second doctor, I explained to him what our first doctor had told us, and he agreed. She definitely did have exotropia. When she first got diagnosed, it was kind of hard to notice when her eye would drift. So it's not a constant, happens all the time type of thing. What would happen is if she was very tired or she had just woken up from a nap or any time she didn't have a lot of energy, you would notice her eye drift. And it would get worse the more tired she got or the less energy that she had. You could just tell that her eye was kind of getting tired. So the pediatrician and both of the ophthalmologists kind of had a hard time seeing it. The pediatrician never saw it, and it was hard for both of the ophthalmologists to see it happen. So it wasn't too severe. That's when the second ophthalmologist that we went to told me that we did have options because he wasn't personally seeing it drift. He wasn't, you know, going to rush into anything because obviously it's not that bad yet. He gave me a few options. My options were that we could patch her eye, which means if her right eye is her weak eye and her left eye is her strong eye, that we would patch her left eye. That way it would make her right eye work overtime and kind of get it to correct itself, strengthen the muscles on its own. Or, he didn't mention this to me, but after I did research of my own, I did see that there was some sort of physical therapy that you could do for this condition as well. Unfortunately, here in San Antonio, there's only one program that offers that, and we unfortunately didn't qualify. And then he did mention to me, of course we're going to check her for glasses because, like I told you earlier, in the opposing condition, exotropia, usually glasses fixes that condition when they're cross-eyed. He was going to check if she needed glasses. We could patch it if we wanted to. And lastly, if she got to the point where we both together decided that she needed to have surgery, then we would be there. But we're not there yet. So that kind of eased my stress a lot, honestly, just to know that surgery wasn't my only option. So she continued to see the ophthalmologist every 2 to 3 months. She would go back and see him and he would check on her eye, and we did try to patch her eye, but it didn't really seem to help at all, especially because really you only saw it when she was tired. So I don't feel like patching her eye helped at all. Then of course he dilated her eyes and checked to see if she needed glasses, and at the time he had concluded that she didn't need glasses. She was seeing perfectly fine. So after months and months and months went by, we finally got to the point where her eye was drifting a lot more than just when she was tired, and she was rubbing it a lot more or squinting a lot more, I would notice. So he gave me homework and he said go home and write down every time you see her eye drift and how often it's happening. And so we did that for months until we saw it was progressing. Once we got to that point, surgery was on the table and we talked about it. He wanted to let me know, you know, you don't have to do this right now. If you're ready, then I'm ready, but you don't have to do it right now. And my whole thought process in it all was that the surgery was purely cosmetic. It was not hurting her for her eye to be doing what it was doing. It was just, you could tell. And I knew you could tell because we have children in our family and some family friends that would notice her eye and would ask her, oh, why is your eye doing that? Or they would call it like her derpy eye, like not trying to be mean, but it was mean. So I just knew that when she got older, you know, kids are mean, kids will probably pick on her, she's such a pretty girl, and they'd find any reason, you know, to tease her. So I didn't want to put her through that. At the time it was purely cosmetic, and just based off cosmetics I was considering surgery just because I didn't want her her to have to go through any of that stuff in school and once she got older. And then the doctor told me, well, it's not severe yet and we can do surgery now, but if we wait too long and it does get too bad to where she doesn't have surgery, then every time that the eye drifts, it's up to the brain to correct the eye. The more that happens, the less the brain wants to correct it. So eventually the brain would just give up and see the eye as inefficient or not helping her vision at all. So it would just kind of give up and she might lose sight in her eye. Of course, after he told me that, we were absolutely okay, heavily considering surgery. Part of the reasons that we decided to go ahead with surgery is because, one, that's extreme. We don't want that for her. We don't want her to lose sight in her eye. Two, it is cosmetic, but it would make me feel better if she didn't have this going on. Three, she was at the time a little over 1.5. She was young enough to not remember what had happened. She was young enough to not be fearful of doctors and nurses and stuff like that. She's always been a people person. So I knew that it wouldn't be a problem with the doctors and the nurses taking her back. With all of these things in mind, we winded up deciding, okay, it's time for her to have a surgery. So we scheduled her surgery, and the day of her surgery, we take her in and everybody's there. Me, her daddy, my mom, my grandma, my sister, everybody who cares for her is there. My dad shows up later and they wind up taking her to the back. They gave her like this really cute little bag with like gifts and all kinds of things in it before she went to surgery. They gave her like a little stuffed pig, and her hospital gown had like Mickey Mouse. It was really cute. So they tried to make her really comfortable. I took her blanket from home, that way she would feel comfortable as well. And we were able to go to the back with her to get her changed and get her ready to go back to surgery. They didn't do any IVs or sedate her or any laughing gas or anything like that when we were with her. They took her back first and then they did all of that back there. So we got to say goodbye to her, and of course me and my mom were a hot ass mess when they took her. We tried our best, to keep a brave face on for her, that way she didn't get worried or anything like that, but as soon as she left, we like bawled our eyes out. So they took her back and we waited in the waiting room, and her surgery took maybe like 45 minutes tops. It was pretty quick surgery, and once she was done, they let us know that everything actually went great. They did grab me when she was starting to wake up but was still pretty groggy, so she wasn't completely awake, so I was able to go back in her bed and lay with her for when she did wake up. The procedure was an outpatient procedure. As soon as she was done, once she woke up, they got her some juice, they got her some popsicles, and it was time for us to go home. So we came home. On the ride, she took a nap, and then once she woke up, you guys, it's like she never had surgery. She was bouncing around, jumping on the bed, running around like crazy, like nothing had happened. That's part of the reason I wanted her to have surgery at such a young age, is because kids are so resilient. Like, it's crazy that she just had surgery on, she did have surgery on both of her eyes. Only one of her eyes was drifting, but the reason he did it on both of her eyes is because he didn't want to overcorrect on one eye and not correct at all on the other eye. That way he could make sure that everything was symmetrical and nothing was out of place. So she had just had surgery on both of her eyes, but she was running around like crazy, and it's literally like nothing happened. After surgery, her eyes looked great. There was no sign of drifting. She wasn't complaining at all. She wasn't squinting as much. Everything was fine, and that lasted for about 6 months. After the 6-month period, I did start to notice her eye drift, but it was very, very seldom that it happened. It was maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks. It was very slight, but I did see it. Once we started seeing a drift again, we of course monitored everything, and once it got significant enough, he checked her eyes again. He dilated her eyes again, and this time went back to make sure she didn't need glasses. So, as I'm sure you guys know or can conclude, she did wind up needing glasses. But I have had parents ask me, like, how was that process? How was the eye exam? Like, she's so young, how did they know she needed glasses? So for us, usually, they bring the lenses up to you and they click 1, 2, which one's better, 2, 3, slightly, or which one's better. They didn't do that with her. So what they do is, because kids don't know their numbers, because they don't know their letters, and usually they give you a letter chart to look at, they would put up something on the screen, H, T, U, and V. So they put one of those letters up on the screen, and they would hand her a paper that had the same letters on the paper. So then she would have to tell them which picture looked like the picture that she's seeing in the screen. And so then he was like, okay, well, let's, you know, do a different test. So then he put some glasses on her and he would have her look through a book and look at different pictures and see if she saw the butterfly or saw something different. The doctor comes back and he did dilate her eyes and he got a prescription for her glasses and he gave it to us. What it is I have worn glasses since I was in 2nd grade, and that is because I have an astigmatism in my eye. So some people ask me why I don't wear contacts. Honestly, I have a hard time with contacts because the contacts that I need for the severity of my astigmatism, they're crazy expensive. They come from like Europe and they take weeks and weeks and weeks to get here, but those are the only ones that I find are comfortable for my eyes, because anything else, when I blink, it will shift. Like my contacts were constantly shifting, which was giving me headaches, and it was just making everything really hard. So I've had glasses since 2nd grade. I don't mind my glasses. I mean, it's just a part of me now. So that's why I wear glasses, because I do have a really bad astigmatism. And as much as Liliana looks like her daddy, she did inherit my astigmatism. That's part of the reason why she has to have glasses, because she inherited that from me. So she's had her glasses for about a year. She's been doing great with them. It was a little hard to keep them on of her at first, but she gets so many compliments every time she has her glasses. Anytime we go anywhere, everybody tells her, oh my gosh, I love your hair and your glasses are so cute, you're so trendy. Of course, she loves the attention. So it's really not hard to keep her glasses on. The only thing we struggle with her glasses is keeping them clean. Anytime she's eating anything, it winds up getting all over her glasses. We do have to deal with that. Also, Chase ate the back of her glasses. Also, a pair of her glasses were stolen. That's a whole different story. So she's been through like 4 different pairs of glasses in the year, but we always pick the same glasses and it's the same prescription. So we actually just went back to the doctor today and he did change her prescription. And so he took a look at her and he said that everything actually looks really good. Her eye is drifting slightly, but nothing that we're going to need surgery for. Now that I say that, it reminds me that also with the surgery, the doctor did tell us that sometimes one surgery doesn't always work. Sometimes you need 2 or 3 surgeries before the surgery actually is permanent. We were hoping that because she was so young and because it was only ever so often that her eye drifted, and you know, because it was only one eye that was drifting, that the 1 surgery would be sufficient enough. As of now, it has been, but I don't know that that's going to continue to be our case. Hopefully she won't need another eye surgery, and the older she gets, the more hesitant I am to make her go through that procedure again. As much as I want her eye to be fixed, I think she does really good when she has her glasses on. I rarely ever see her eye drift with her glasses on. So I think we just need to instill to her that her glasses are so important and she really needs them. Yeah. I guess that's it. I know it's a long story, and if you stuck around to the end, you're a real one. I'm gonna tell Lil that y'all really care about her. But I just wanted to put this out there because when I was looking, when I had found out her diagnosis, I didn't see anything on the internet as far as her diagnosis went. It's really scary when you have a child that young and they tell you that they need surgery. This is just reassurance that her surgery went really well. I, of course, got a second opinion when I wasn't comfortable. Never made a decision while I wasn't comfortable. I consulted everyone that I knew was important in mine and her life, that we all concluded that yes, she definitely needs a surgery. So until everybody was on board, that's when we made the decision. Also, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just telling you guys my experience and what we went through with Liliana. If it can help anybody, I just want to put this information out there. If you guys know anybody who has questions about an eye doctor, how I found the doctor that we found, can send them my way. I'm open to answer any kind of questions that you have. You guys know I'm an open book, but just keep in mind, I'm not a medical doctor. I have a bachelor's degree, but I'm not a medical doctor. That's all for today's video. Again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Always give babies positive affirmations, whether they have glasses or they don't have glasses, or they have curly hair or red hair or brown hair or purple skin or black skin. Always give them positive affirmations. So that's all for today's video. Also, I didn't want to put this in the middle of the video, but I didn't want to put it at the beginning of the video, but I do want to insert it somewhere here at the end of the video. I'm usually ahead of schedule as far as my filming goes. I have things pre-filmed and I'm working on things before my next project comes out, and then working on things before that next project comes out. But as of now, this is the only project that I have filmed for you guys, or that I'm filming for you. But after I edit, this will be up on Saturday, and after that, I don't know that I will have a video on Wednesday. I don't even know that I'll have a video next Saturday. So I don't know how long it will be, until I see you guys again, hopefully not too long. Hopefully I'll see you next Saturday. I say that to you because we just had a death in the family, so we have a lot to deal with. Funerals and things like that are coming up, and honestly, I think the hardest part about it is it's bringing up a lot of suppressed emotions that I've had over the years. So some of you guys know that I did go through something very traumatic in high school with my brother, and losing my brother is just kind of resurfaces a lot of emotions that I've tried to suppress over the years. If I seem a little different or upset, or you can tell that my eyes are puffy, anything like that, that is why. But in turn, because everything is happening, I know I told you guys that I wasn't sure if I was going to open up about it, but I think I've finally made the decision that I will share it with you guys. I'm not sure when. I might film the video and it might take me a while, you know, to get there to finally edit and upload it. I just know it's going to take a lot of energy from me emotionally. But again, like this video, it's a video I want to put out just because if it can help anybody, that's always the goal. So yeah, that's where I'll be. I will be taking care of myself as well as my family, making sure everybody's okay while I'm taking a break. If you're behind on my content, there's plenty of other content for you to keep you entertained. Hopefully rewatch some of your favorite videos, tag me in it when you're watching it. I love to see you guys and what you're doing while you're watching my videos. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for being so understanding. Thank you guys so much for being so supportive and always being so kind. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Hit the bell notification, that way when I do come back, when I do have another video, you will be the first one to get notified. If you don't click the bell, don't worry, I will always let you guys know when my videos go live on my socials. These are my socials. This is where you can find me on the internet. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Welcome to my channel. These are my socials. Y'all, for some reason, when I